Hello, and welcome back to day 7 of SEO Mastery Summit. And this is the Q&A session. So welcome, Julie, and welcome, Carolyn.
Hey, Mads. Thanks for having us. Happy to be here again. I guess again, for the Q&A.
Again. Yes. Luckily, we get to talk frequently. So that's good.
Yes. All good.
Again, fantastic presentation, ladies. If some people, for unexplainable reasons, haven't yet watched your presentation, could you give like a 1.5 minute brief overview of what you're talking about? Julie, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. So my entire presentation was about negotiating affiliate deals. So you have a website, it's making money. Maybe you're making, maybe you're on Amazon, maybe you're making 3%. So my entire presentation was about the value of actually going to those manufacturers and negotiating higher sales and my step-by-step process for how I actually do that. So I went into everything from determining the value of your website, determining the value within the niche, so how valuable you are to these manufacturers, and then how you can actually approach them and leverage things like Amazon to get higher commissions for the same amount of traffic. So cool stuff.
Excellent. And Carolyn?
You want me to go now?
Yeah.
Okay. My presentation was really about the opportunities on Alexa and from various things from create. I forgot to turn her off. She just popped in. Just some opportunities and where we as SEOs can even sort of maximize that, because there's certainly in terms of podcasts, it's kind of like the very beginnings in there. And so there's a lot of opportunity on that.
Yeah.
So.
Excellent. So I remember, so we were talking a lot about podcasting and stuff. So it's one of my favorite personal methods, and I've been talking a little bit about it on our Q&As as well. But we love it. We, even for small sites, we always do a podcast, even with one episode if we need to, just because all the amount of sites where you can actually replicate and get some decent high quality links and so on. That's podcasting is excellent. Right, so let me go through some of these questions here. So the first one I got here says, if you're looking to change affiliates, at what point do you generally consider doing so? So I assume they mean away from Amazon. Or? Yeah.
So whenever you have enough weight to throw around, so it's going to change per industry. So that's why it's important to go through that process of figuring out your value within the niche, see how you stack up against the other people that are there. And if you're in the top, even the top 10, websites that are in the niche, then you're going to have some negotiation power. Now, if you're a no-name and you're ranking for, some very long tail keywords and you're not getting a ton of traffic, you should definitely wait a couple months until you can build up that traffic, because you only get one chance at a first impression at the end of the day. So if you go too soon, you're not going to have that opportunity to throw the weight around to get the better commission with that. So
makes sense. Okay, excellent. And Carolyn, so from your side, I think I know the answer to this one, but there's a girl asking if you're launching a podcast on Amazon, can you still replicate it to all the other services that we normally use?
Yes. There's Amazon as Amazon, but then there's Alexa. They're two separate things.
Right.
On that. And if Amazon is offering the hosting of the files, obviously you can start from there and spread out anywhere you want to. But being on Amazon, the audio side of Amazon doesn't automatically put you in Alexa.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense. And from that point of view, like, is it difficult getting approved to Amazon? To Alexa right now? Or
right now, no. There's a lot of in the news about the concern about privacy and people creating these skills, which are what we would call apps. But in terms of, you have a podcast with a title and a description and your RSS feed, and as long as you're, it can take a little while, like if you're in the health situation, health niche, that they're going to poke around a little bit more and make sure that you have the proper disclaimers and things like that. Privacy, terms of conditions, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's just at that point, if, as far as a podcast is concerned, it's there. I haven't had one get turned down. Let's put it that way.
Excellent. Well, luckily, I'm not particularly healthy.
Luckily,
more health that they're looking at.
at least my content isn't particularly around health, so that's good. That's good. Okay, next question here that is also around affiliates. So, how many affiliate programs do you typically operate? I find it confusing just using 4 affiliate suppliers right now, but does it make sense, right? So.
Yeah, so
I guess network. I guess it's network. He means, right? So
so you want to have at least like 7 or 8 that are viable, but I normally focus on a top 1 or 2. So my top 2 affiliates in a niche, I'm talking to them, a couple times a month. Like I have a really good relationship with them, but then I have these other people, that I've gotten approved for their program and I'm promoting their products, but it's a little more hands off. It's the same as Amazon. You place the link and then you earn commissions. But with the people who are willing to work with you, put a little bit more effort into those relationships.
do you also have like I guess a threshold or something? When do you start spending a lot of time with affiliates or with affiliate partners, I guess?
Right away. I mean, once I start throwing my weight around and, getting, making deals with people, that's my top priority, because the SEO part, that happens beforehand. It's ongoing, but at the end of the day, like, you're getting this traffic and then you're building the relationships, and that becomes the core driving factor of making more money, especially when you're going from Amazon to working with somebody else. So it starts really right away. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And the next one, also affiliate-ish. So, as a new affiliate, I've really been struggling to get signed up for some affiliate programs. I seem to just be automatically declined. Any hints or tips on how to get approved?
Send that email before you send out the application. If you're finding that you're getting, auto denied, especially if you're new to something like Commission Junction or Share Sell. If you have no sales, they could have a filter on their application process that says, absolutely no go. You have to have some sort of traction. So if you're new to these programs, go ahead and send them out an email first and say, hey, this is the traffic that I have. This is, the sort of sales that I can drive. Take a look at my application. It's not just, something that I'm sending out to a bunch of people. It's something that I'm directing towards you. I want to help you as a company. So if you can get in front of them before you actually send out the application, it's going to make it a lot easier.
Excellent. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And
before we go to the next question, Julie, what are you wearing? A Hamilton shirt?
Yes, I am.
I knew I liked you.
I've got 2.
2, nice. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
No worries. I was actually looking at Julie's background and I was thinking chess. So
yeah. I'm thinking about turning off this light. Actually, it's giving me a little bit of a blue haze. So
all good.
Whatever. It's just a light, guys. My hair's not actually blue.
Could be cool. Try it. Right. The next question here. So also affiliate-ish. I think that one we kind of already answered. For affiliate websites, what traffic levels? Okay, so that's similar. So for affiliate website, what traffic level do you typically start looking at non-affiliate Amazons?
I would say 10,000 a month on the low end, and that's organic. You start having a little bit more bargaining power. Just generally speaking, you have to compare yourself to the competition, but I would say you have some really good weight to throw on once you're in like the 40 to 50,000 visitors a month. Then you're going to start getting people's attention. But 10K is a good place to start in most cases.
Excellent. And this one is pretty good. So when you run multiple affiliate sites, do you keep them all on one account? And in that case, what do you do when you sell the site? Or do you keep a separate affiliate account for each network for each site?
So it's the way that I've done it in the past. You have one network, you have one line of communication, and then within that network, you're able to add tracking IDs for each site. So you want to make sure every time you build out a link, you say, hey, it's for website A, this other link is for website B, and that way you can pull reports that are website specific. So if you go to sell the site, you're able to isolate all of the traffic and money that came from that particular website without having to have a million different platforms going around at the same time. It's better for tax purposes too to have it all in one. It's just cleaner.
Yeah, I guess the challenge is potentially like then basically the new owner of the site needs to get approved. But obviously,
yeah. So you would then go to the company that is. I'm just going to use ShareSale because that's one that I'm familiar with. You can go to a company and say, "Hey, reach out to ShareSale because I'm selling this site. Make sure that they get approved to the platform because we want to work with them." So you basically go to the manufacturer and have them make that connection between you and ShareSale to make sure that one, you get approved for the program, and two, you get approved with the manufacturer as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Podcasting. Yeah. So this, I don't really get this question, but it's basically a podcasting question saying, is it more difficult starting up with Alexa than starting up on iTunes? But I guess
well, in both cases, they're both directories. So you've got to start with a hosting platform on that. And then you can, create a strategy for different platforms. iTunes is really great. They do a lot of, if you're pretty sure you're going to get a lot of downloads, things like that, it's a great place to be. But, I think the problem is so many people come up with questions about podcasts that sort of stop them from moving forward. And so I always recommend what I did, just hold your nose and jump. You'll figure it out as you go. And
just belly flop.
The format is just, it's in some ways very forgiving, right? Because people are going to jump in when they hear about you. Yeah. So if you can have a little bit of experience underneath your belt as they come in later on, they're going to be like, you're the one that knows all the growth you've gone through, but it's a perception when someone joins that they think that's how it always has been. So you'll be fine. Just jump, go.
Yeah, it's new to them. They don't really see everything that went on in the background and all that.
Yeah, well, I was pretty good at not procrastinating so much when I started my podcast myself. But I definitely see a lot of people like, oh, what microphone should I use and what lighting should I have to the podcast with no video? And yeah, people are very good at setting up.
They worry about lighting with a podcast? I guess, yeah, you post it on Facebook and stuff too.
What about your hosting then, Carolyn? Like what do you use or anything you recommend?
I do Anchor FM. It's super simple, easy to start. They've got a lot of tools on the back end, and they have those direct back end distribution agreements. So you get into Google and you get into Spotify and all those places. And it really couldn't be easier. And you can schedule out ahead of time so you're not going through that rush every, like I do mine once a week, but I do a couple of them at a time. Yep. So that I get a little breather.
And so what happens if you have multiple podcasts? Is that also easy with Anchor?
Oh, yeah. Now you would need to, I think you'd have to have like a separate account.
Right.
I don't think you can run multiple ones within the same account, but you can definitely have multiple Anchor accounts.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what our podcast host is called, but I have actually no idea. So the beauty of having awesome staff. Okay. So next question. Also, that's not really affiliate-ish, but it's basically definitely for you, Julie. So
I'll give it a whack. Let's go.
I've seen a couple of your videos, and I'm wondering what's your key strategy when building out sites? Do you prefer to do new, or do you buy existing sites every time?
I get that question a lot. So I like to build sites myself for the most part. I don't like to dabble in really, really established sites. I've done it before. And, the benefit to buying an established site is you're gaining time. So you get to get out of that sandbox. You have a niche that has been proven. So there's a ton of benefits. But with where I am now, I generally like to build out a site from scratch just because I'm not too concerned if it takes a year or two to, get going. And then I know it, I know the whole history of the site. I know like the site architecture is going to be good. The content's going to be solid. It's a little bit less messy. So with that being said, when I do start a new site, sometimes I'll do expired domains if I find something that is in the niche and of high quality. But for the most part, I like to build them fresh, at least now.
Excellent. Yeah, that's good. And yeah, I totally get. I mean, buying time is obviously good. I would love to buy a few years somewhere, but yeah. I mean, we typically nowadays buy a site. Sometimes we actually totally rip them apart and just start over with the URLs. But yeah, for the same reasons as you say,
yes,
right?
Sometimes it's more work. Like if it all it does is bypass that sandbox and give you an established website. But a lot of times, you have to rewrite the content. In a best case scenario, you're buying a website that has a lot of potential. It's kind of crappy, for lack of a better word. So those are the good things to buy. So you're getting yourself into a lot of research work and then a lot of cleanup work, which sometimes takes more time, more resources to get it to where you want it versus building out fresh.
Makes sense. Okay, and the next one. So this is the other side of affiliates. So I run an e-commerce store and have affiliates. Many of them forget to put no follow on the affiliate links. Is that gonna hurt me?
From that perspective, I honestly don't know. I mean, best case scenario, you're getting a lot of links. Worst case scenario, your anchor text to your website is bad. All you can do at the end of the day is reach out to them and ask to change it. But I don't think that it's anything to be too concerned about, as long as they're, affiliates that you approve and they're not, wonky websites that are built by, some schmuck. So as long as you have a hand in who you're working with, you should be okay.
Definitely. Yep, make a lot of sense. And yeah, I mean, links are always good, but I could imagine sometimes, like particularly if it's buttons and stuff, that the links is not great.
Yeah, so. and that's when it comes down to being a little bit pickier about who you work with,
Yeah, and again, you could also just reach out and talk with the people, right? Because if someone, I definitely remember I had a client like many years ago, and they had gotten one of those site-wide links. Someone put it in
like in the footer or something like that.
Footer or something, and suddenly they had like 50,000 anchor text with something that I think it was actually. So the problem was it was an exact match anchor text, and suddenly they had like 50,000 links with exact match. And
I don't think it would matter so much in that case because it's coming from a single domain. So once you have multiple links from one domain, the amount of weight that it carries gets really negligible really quickly. So in that case, it wouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, they were definitely impacted on it, but I can't remember. I think it might have been a sub page that maybe didn't have links already or whatever.
Oh, okay.
An exact match pushed them over or something. I don't know, but I just remember it was interesting.
And do follow tags are really for the site where the link comes from.
Yeah.
They want you to. I mean, they can't really tell the difference, but you as the site owner, like if you want to send your link juice that way, that
it shouldn't be your problem.
Yeah, it's like you're giving them like a handshake, like a seal of approval, like, yes, take my link juice sort of deal.
Right. Here's all the links.
Yeah, the juices.
More link juice. Okay, so next one is content related. So content/affiliate. So when you're finding new affiliate programs, if you find a program that's better, do you rewrite the whole article? Do you just rewrite the product part? Or
just the product part. So the only exception to that would obviously be like a full review, or if you're promoting one product that does something that another product can't. But for the most part, when we're talking about, buyer's guides type of stuff, I would probably just pull one of the people, let's say you have listed 10, pull the 10th, add that new one in. The person who was first is now second, and they just kind of get bumped down that way. Just replace the content.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Since December update, have you had any negative impacts, and what's your strategy in using informational/money content?
So I got pretty lucky. The sites that make me the most money actually benefited from it. I had a couple that were in my portfolio that I've honestly neglected get absolutely hammered. So what's interesting with those sites is it really was 50-50 informational versus buyer's guides and reviews. But the issue that I found was more related to the traffic. So sure, let's say you have a 100-page website, 50 of those are informational posts, but say the top 25 pages that are actually driving traffic are all buyer's guides and stuff like that. So what I'm doing right now is working on finding informational style keywords that are going to drive more traffic and not just having, those informational style posts just for the sake of having it. It's more about traffic than the number of posts. At least that's the direction that I'm going.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I can definitely share some. We had a website that was 100% buyer guides, and
did it get hammered?
I can tell you, it's not having a lot of traffic anymore. So.
Yeah, yeah. That update was brutal, and I don't think I know anybody that didn't get impacted at all. Like even people who have, everybody from single portfolio people to huge portfolio people, like everybody got impacted. At least a little bit. It's like Google said, no affiliates.
It was a very interesting update because
it was.
Previously there haven't been link updates, and there have been kind of things where you could tweak and twist. And luckily we have found some way around the drops. But so we found ways where we could solve it pretty quickly. But yeah, it was definitely a very interesting update.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was one of the most interesting ones that I've seen in a while. Like we've had a ton of updates in the past year, and all of them have been like minimal impact. So from my perspective, I haven't had a lot to play around with just because I'm, at the end of the day, I'm working on my portfolio as the core thing that I care about. So I haven't had a lot to dig into. This one is interesting to see.
So I would also say it was one of those where you definitely like I was sitting expecting Google to do a rollback of at least some of it, because usually when you see a ton of turmoil, it's kind of like, oh, right. I was sitting waiting for a month and a half, and I was like, nope, they're not gonna roll back.
There was some sort of, I don't know if it's a rollback, but like a shockwave of sorts. Yeah.
But I mean, most of the sites we looked at that dropped 90% traffic. I mean, they're still
down.
So that was like, whatever. Okay, excellent. And where's the best place to focus when you're looking for new private affiliates? So I've previously had a problem finding products in my niche, but searching for particular product providers have meant that I found affiliates that was that I could work with. Many of them haven't been set up as an affiliate, but I recommended them to install a simple plugin, and that works well. I don't actually know what the question is.
I think I kind of get what they're getting at. So how do you find programs if you can't find programs? Like some niches are just bad. Like if you had an Amazon affiliate website and you got hit by the update, I think March 2020, where they dropped all the commissions, and maybe you're looking for other programs. I've had sites that I just couldn't find anything. Like maybe, somebody's offering 6% to Amazon's 3%, but they're going to convert at like 1/5 of what Amazon is going to convert. So even if I do switch, I'm making less money. So sometimes you got to kind of get creative and see maybe if there's shoulder niches. That's not necessarily the exact product that you're promoting now, but something that's similar enough, and then dig in and look at that. So that's kind of the path that I ended up taking when I couldn't find direct replacements for Amazon.
So I would also say one of my personal favorites with this is I know the other end of the game. So I've had e-commerce stores and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I know is that Amazon people are generally very desperate to sell their stuff, right? So because the Amazon rankings work quite differently than SEO. So they work on sales, basically sales and reviews. That's the main thing. So the more sales you can generate sort of coming from outside Amazon, the better you are, right?
Interesting.
So one of the things we have done a lot and we like doing is we actually go to like search for the keyword we have, and then go like to bottom of page 1, page 2, or page 3, and find people. They don't need to have a lot of sales, but with good reviews. and actually contacting them directly. Now,
And you've had success with that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming so, yeah.
We definitely have. So there's two things that can happen. So we usually check if they have their own store as well. But most of the time, honestly, they're looking for the sales on Amazon, right? But we've definitely had examples. We've had examples of customers that have ended up paying us basically 20% on top of the Amazon fee. So we basically just sent them a screenshot every month of the Amazon sales, and they would then basically pay us like that was product with very high margins, right? But they would pay us 20%. I'd say most of the time, sort of 10 to 15 on additional is very, very good. But occasionally you find people that's willing to pay a lot extra, right? And it's really because just like SEO, they're competing for the top spot, and they need to generate those sales, right?
So that's probably more of a short-term relationship. It sounds to me like they would be not using you, like you're obviously making money out of the situation, but their goal out of that is, yes, to sell stuff, but also to manipulate their rankings on Amazon. So I'd be curious to see how.
But generally, my expectation, I mean, we have clients we work with for 3 years with this stuff, right?
Oh,
so
cool. That's awesome.
Generally, the key thing is they when they get the external sales, they want to keep them because they want to keep their ranking. Right. So the problem is sometimes if you, at least, I mean, if you're making 2 sales a month, it doesn't matter. Right. But if you have a site where you're driving a couple of hundred sales, that makes a big difference to them potentially. Right. So yeah, we definitely see, I mean, they generally don't, my experience is they generally don't spend money they don't have. Right. So if they have a 15% profit margin, they're not going to give you 20. Right.
Yeah.
But, if they're making 30, 40 or whatever, and you're still getting maybe 10 or 15 or 20%, like they're still making money, but for them the most important thing is actually keeping the sales, right? So but I found that as a very good strategy because you can actually find products that no one else review. 2, you can find products that are a little bit more expensive and more probably well developed, right? Now, again, if you don't know the niche yourself very well, it can be hard to see. But definitely, we've had some niches where we've been able to find sort of premium products, and I generally love having those within our comparison, right? But particularly expensive products where we get a much higher commission.
Those are my favorite too.
More money is.
Mine too.
Yep. Okay. And we have one more question here around podcasting. So that very specifically for you, Carolyn. So they're saying, Carolyn, how long time do you typically spend on podcasting if you run an hourly podcast of an hour? A weekly podcast.
I wouldn't be able to answer that because mine don't run that long. Primarily, I think looking at your target, like who are you really talking to? If it's like a story or a mystery or something like that, then sure, take the time to explore that. But if you're targeting anything related to business, I would think the shorter, the better on that. High density in terms of, what you're saying. And then, keep it short. I think some of the most successful ones that I've listened to that I've felt like I got a lot of value out, they put it right out there. They gave it to me and I was like, I'm going to keep coming back. So that tends to be how it is. I don't think length determines success.
Agreed. Yeah, so actually, like, there's a Danish podcast that I've been listening to for years, and it's like literally a 5-minute podcast, right? So that's just very actionable tips. What about like all the stuff around podcasting, like planning, getting guests on board, and like, do you feel that takes much time, Carolyn, or how do you work that generally?
Well, part of the reason that I have the podcast is that I'm putting a course together on voice SEO and screen list search and that type of thing. So I decided to go path of least resistance. So I don't have guests, so I don't have to coordinate other people's schedules.
Right.
I have total control over the topics. I can say whatever the hell I want. I'm not trying to obtain clients out of it. I make it very clear. so it's kind of like for me, it's what I want it to be. So I do, you have to plan out topics. And some people are really great at just sort of like riffing from the hip. But I kind of like to, have something in there that's relevant to what they're going through. So, and I have different types of episodes. I think the best advice I got was, it's one thing to just start talking, but it's another thing if you can guide people through and let them know what they can expect. Yeah. So some are about, SEO, some are about clients, some are about, different projects I'm doing. It's kind of a, peek behind the curtain thing. So I think it just depends on what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
An example.
I love doing podcasting. I'll say I actually enjoy joining other people's podcasts more than I enjoy doing my own. And that's very much like you want to do a little bit of prep work and all that kind of stuff. Like normally I love jumping onto a podcast and just brain dumping knowledge. That's always a lot of fun. So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
So really the thing about the thing about the podcast was the opportunity in Alexa. And then since doing that, a lot of people have said, oh, I've been doing this and I get this out of it and that out of it, now they're doing it for very deliberate marketing and creating authority and helping people find them and kind of like validate that, I picked the right SEO or I picked the right marketing person to do this with.
I see. So you're using it as a what's it called? Like a show of good faith for potential clients. Like they know that they're working with somebody that's good because the person has a podcast and they know what they're talking about, sort of deal. Kind of what you mean?
Yeah, pretty much. It's also, a lot of people, podcasts are very popular right now. Mm-hmm. So the trick was, finding out what could distinguish you. And since there's not that many on Alexa, you can say, oh, you could find me on, just ask Alexa, and that kind of thing. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It's a little bit of a thing. And podcasts are one way to use voice. And I thought if I'm doing this, I can't really be, don't do as I do, do as I say. I thought that would really, not be ethical. But I'm enjoying it. It's been very, again, I think one of the best episodes for me, not for probably the audience, but was, I hate client SEO.
Preach.
You're an affiliate, I'm thinking, you do too.
Yeah. I've got a feeling you're not alone in this world.
Yeah.
I know. But so I'm more reformed client SEO.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And Julia, I always see you everywhere as well. So you have a tendency to show up in many places. I assume you love sharing and so on.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Something that I've started doing in the past year or so, just trying to make an effort to get out there a little bit more because I have the time to do it. I enjoy it, and I love to help people along the way too. Because affiliate SEO, like once it clicks, like the lifestyle is really great, and I love to share that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Again, you actually have the time when you do client SEO. You rarely have that kind of time sitting around. So
yeah,
definitely excellent. Okay, so just check if there's any more questions here. I think we're heading towards the end of it. So there's some link stuff here, not really that relevant. Yeah, I think that was it actually for the relevant question for you ladies. So yeah, thank you very much for joining in. And to the audience, again, thank you for sticking with us for an entire week. It's been fantastic as always. And I've been so impressed with all the speakers again this time. I ran it the first time and I was like, okay, now I've got all the great speakers. And then I'm like, one of the things I typically myself is kind of when you go to conferences, you very often see all the same speakers. So
Yeah.
80% of the speakers tend to be the same from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. You love the people and so on, but we went the other direction. So we basically said, we want brand new lineup every single time. And that was interesting. And I realized obviously you guys, but generally there's lots and lots of SEOs with lots of share. And it's definitely it'll be interesting the next couple of events. I mean, I think we already probably have a list of like 100 people or so that's interested, but I'm looking forward to see if we can at least keep the quality or even move the quality up a little bit. So that's going to be interesting. So
Great job. Thank you for the getting to present. That was great.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity as well. It was really fun.
It's always a lot of fun, and as I said, I love presenting myself as well. But it's a good opportunity, and actually my absolute favorite is really finding sort of newish people, because I think there's a lot of awesome people like yourself that we all know about. But I'm always looking for these people who have some magical golden nuggets that no one have ever extracted before. But yeah, all good fun.
Okay.
Well, ladies, thank you very much. And
thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, man. It's really nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Excellent. And to the audience again, thank you very much for sticking with us, and thank you for staying on this live. Been awesome to talk to you, and have a good day.
Thanks,